name is SSK3313-G4. My metric number is 197603.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Azianti binti Hamidi. My metric number is 199617.
Hello everyone, my name is Li Xiao. My metric number is EX03236.
Hi, my name is Fatin Nuraihan binti Muhammad Shukri. My metric number is 195948.
And today we are going to present on our topic, kernel in I/O management system. Enjoy
the video.
Hello and hi, welcome to our video on kernel in I/O management system. What is kernel? In computing, the kernel is the central component of most computer operating systems. It is a bridge between applications and the actual data processing done at the hardware level. It acts as an interface between the user applications and the hardware. The sole aim of kernel is to manage the communication between the software at user-level applications and the hardware at CPU, disk, memory, etc. When a process makes a request of the kernel, the request is called a system call. Various kernel designs differ on how they manage system calls and resources. There is two types of kernel, monolithic and microkernel. Monolithic kernel running all OS instructions in the same address space. Failure in one component will affect the entire system. OS kernel contain the OS services, difficult to add new functionalities, large in size and fast, whereas microkernel running most processes at user space. Failure in one component will not affect the other components. OS service and kernel are separated, easier to add new functionalities, smaller in size and slow. Process in operating system between kernel and user. What is operating system? Basically, operating system is an interface between the user and computer hardware. Let's take a look at the diagram. Usually, using the interface, user type some instructions, and OS system will consist of many components, and one of them is system calls. Then you will have kernel subsystem and device driver. At the bottom, we have the computer hardware. Let's take an example for text editor. For writing some text, saving the file and printing the files. For writing a text, user will use the keyboard as the hardware device, and the keyboard will interact with the OS, and how it will interact with the OS is by using device driver. OS will interact with the application, and what will happen is when you type using keyboard, and all the character will appear on the application. Saving the files. For example, using C or C++ languages, usually let's say a function called fWriteData at application, and by using system call at the kernel write data, it will then send to the system file system as the instruction. Whereas for printing the file, by using same functions, let's say printing file name at the application, then send the system calls device printer associated with device printer at the kernel, and send the instruction to the printer as hardware. Kernel responsibilities and functionalities. Resource allocation, process management, memory management, input-output device management, inter-process communication, scheduling, system calls and interrupt handling, security or protection management. For conclusion, features that kernel provides is low-level scheduling of processes, inter-process communication, process synchronization, context switching, manipulation of process control blocks, interrupt handling, process creation and destruction, process suspension and resumption. That's all from us. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.